who sat inches away from those arguments is eNCA's Siphamandla Goke. Siphamandla, do I capture the position correctly that we now know for a fact that the issue that will be raised by the defense is around Billy Downer, but we just don't know what exactly is the issue?
Indeed, we don't know what the issue is, but based on previous experiences and what has transpired, former President Jacob Zuma's legal team has always been clear that they would want him to recuse himself, because they say, well, when it comes to this matter, he's driven by hatred. But it's something that they somersaulted on earlier on. It's something that they've withdrew. But he even told the court today that, well, he has heard that some papers were meant to be filed in terms of him in that matter, but he has not received anything yet. So we expect to hear at least next week what will transpire in terms of that, but we don't know what the issue is. But it's an open secret that former President Jacob Zuma's legal team has always had an issue with state or lead prosecutor Billy Downer.
In fact, in a moment, I want us to revisit some of those issues, but not before I highlight the importance and the significance of the fact that they are raising that pleading in terms of Section 106(1)H, because that relevant section of the Criminal Procedure Act says when someone pleads and they list the number of pleas that are possible, that accused person, if they intend to plead not guilty, they are allowed to raise the not guilty plea as well as another plea within this section, possibly more, 2 or more pleas, if they intend to plead not guilty. But if you intend to plead guilty, then you may not plead any other plea. So the fact that he's raising another plea tells you that he's going to plead not guilty when the official plea is recorded on the 26th. Let's go back to the issues around Billy Downer SC, Siphamandla. I'd like us to go all the way back around his involvement with the case. He's been there from the start, hasn't he?
Yes.
He was the lead prosecutor in the successful prosecution of Schabir Shaik. And even there was some uncertainty as to what his standing would be, but in the end, it was never questioned.
Indeed, it was never questioned, but also remember when there were those raids that were taking place, in various parts of the country, including outside of the borders of South Africa. Advocate Billy Downer, for instance, and his involvement in Mauritius. And hence, during the case of Schabir Shaik, there were those questions that were raised about him. Hence, the NPA had to bring on board somebody else as a backup to say, should the defense decide to put him on the stand, then they have a backup to deal with that. But during Schabir Shaik's trial, this thing has featured strongly too when former President Jacob Zuma's team argued in this court when they were applying or seeking leave basically to have the matter thrown out of court. They argued that this matter is politically driven, and the issue of Billy Downer, they have always said he is someone who's got an interest on this matter, who's driven by hatred. It's very important to us that we stress the fact that even former President Jacob Zuma's legal team themselves, they have withdrawn some of the things that they have said about him. So this renewed interest in him recusing himself, I don't think it will hold, because in the past they have employed a very similar strategy, and hence former President Jacob Zuma was arguing when he was bringing that application to have the charges withdrawn here, saying by not charging him together with Schabir Shaik, that was using Schabir Shaik's trial as a dry run for Zuma's prosecution at a later stage. So they've always had an issue with Billy Downer's involvement, and why the state decided not to join former President Jacob Zuma with his former financial advisor, Schabir Shaik.
Yeah, so a few moments ago, we just saw the members of the MKMVA, and I believe we possibly have that visually from the camera crew, Nkanyiso, with Dasan Tathia. And I think we are seeing those members of the MKMVA. Gareth, you can confirm with me whether we have that visually. They're forming a guard of honor, and I imagine that should tell you something. They are preparing to receive those that they salute as the leadership of the ANC. Gareth, please confirm with me before we continue.